Corey and Keisha, how you doing?
Doing well, Jimmy. That was a great session right there, man. Took a lot of
And
notes. Going to take some action on a few of those today, just to kind of bring some of what I'm doing up to speed.
absolutely. And I know that you are responsible for the blogging. Um, and I see that you've been producing a number of blogs. I haven't seen one pop through in a little while. Um,
Yeah,
but
that
again, things get in the way.
and that's it. But that topic cluster, that's going to help a lot with that, and really just start with that and get a few things on the agenda to have them roll out soon. So that's going to help.
Yeah, and here's how I typically do my blog writing. I'll pick a topic, and again, so I'm not going to write on three or four different things. I pick a topic and I write content around that specific topic, and that becomes my content creation strategy for the month. So now
Got it.
let's imagine if you pick 12 high level topics and you do it in that way, and let's say you produce 4 to 5 pieces of content around that one topic times 12, and you do
Yeah.
that each month, you actually have an entire year worth of content.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Uh-oh, Nikisha, what you got?
Light bulb.
She went like this. I was like, oh,
She was
that's
looking at the
new.
light bulb above her head.
That's new.
It clicked. It clicked. Yeah, it just clicked. You take 12 topics, break it down. I like that. That's all.
Yeah.
It just clicked.
And you literally just mapped out an entire year without even trying.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Now, and then what you do is you build in the ability to make adjustments because something might happen. And you're like, and that happens a lot when I do the frameworks for us every month,
Mm.
where I think I have the next 3 months already planned, but I will make a last minute change because something happens. Somebody calls, something happens in the community, especially between Nikisha and Laura. I'm like, oh, I should probably address this topic. And I mean that with all love. And I'm grateful to have Nikisha and Laura in the community because this is not just about, and I'm bigging myself up and bigging you guys up. It's not about me in that aspect, but then that's how you should be treating your industry and your business in general to so you make those adjustments quickly, and you're tapping into something that has a level of evergreenness to it, or you're basing it on something that's important right now. It's the hot topic of the day, and I'm in a position to take advantage of that.
Got it.
You know,
Got it.
so let's get some feedback on what we just went through on day three. So Elizabeth is in the house. Thank you for showing up. I'm assuming you were on for the call.
Yes.
All right. So what were some things that might have stood out to you?
Well, I had some technical difficulties getting on the call, so I was about 10 minutes late, and this is my first one in the series. So I had some, running behind the car to do. Uh, but let's see, I just had down a lot of notes, and I've really been working on my blogs. Last night I was working on a blog, and I actually was on SEMrush again and trying to integrate and did a lot of stuff on my website. So I see that kind of the way I can sort of take the next steps to be even more purposeful on what I'm doing and focusing on. So, but I haven't used. I'm excited to try Schema and Yoast and ScaleNut and
Right now,
start
I know you're on what platform are you on? You're on
GoDaddy.
no, but what is your website itself built on? Is it a WordPress site? Then I'm assuming it's
GoDaddy.
WordPress. All right,
Yeah.
so you can take advantage of those tools. Absolutely. You
Yeah.
know, the biggest thing to take away from what I showed you is not even necessarily the tools yet, but it's
Hmm.
really just the formatting of the blog.
Okay.
You let's say
Yes.
you got the blog itself. Do you have a highlight section at the beginning and a frequently asked question at the bottom? Those two alone are key things that you should be adding to each of your blogs. And you might go, all right, well, I got 100 blogs. How do I know which
Mhm.
one to start with? Well, look at your analytics and see which one's already pulling in the most traffic.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
I
you start
did catch
there.
that. And there's a lot that I need to do to revise. Because you had told me before, don't keep these, I mean, keep these the blogs evergreen in a way, but I wasn't sure how, that was a long time ago. I didn't really know, about the FAQs and about the bullet points and about just really setting it up so that I can, for
Well, let me give you
optimization.
well, let me give you a hack. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but you're exciting me here. Take the URL,
Hmm.
drop it into your AI tool, and go, please update this article, but also include a highlight list at the beginning of what I cover in this article, and end with at least three high quality question and answers, and let it up this. So that's let's call that the cheap man's way of getting it done.
Okay.
I think that in the music industry, we when we email ourselves our songs when we finish them, we call that the cheap man's publishing contract. So that could be one way. Again, if you don't, because I understand not everybody has the revenue to invest in these tools, it
Okay.
still has to be done. You have to be creative. So at least that would be one quick way to update it and leverage technology. So it's using your existing article, but you
Hmm.
might go, a lot has changed. This article was written 2 years ago. Please update it to be more relevant to today, and then replace it. And now
Okay.
Google will pick up that that article has recently been updated.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else that anything that popped in their brain that they. If not, I'm gonna pull back up the tool because I got a couple extra things to show you. No? Oh man, quiet today. I don't like it. All right, here we go. Let me go ahead and share. Share. And so there were, like I said, there were a few updates to the SEMrush tool. So they added this entire section up here. I'm gonna make that bigger. Why are you not getting bigger? Oh, there we go. So you got visibility overview, growth plan, competitor research, and topic analysis. So I have no clue what they're about to do, but I'm excited. Okay. This is what we normally are used to: brand performance, visibility, perception, citations, and questions. So what they did do, which I'm finally happy they did, was I think for anybody, if you have a SEMrush account, you can have a free SEMrush account. Um, click on I'll make sure that there's a link on my description on the replay page. If you I can now drop in a domain on this visibility of any domain and see some data AI wise, which wasn't available before. So that's exciting. But if we come back over here, if you do have access to the original tool, and let's say you're looking at competitors, so I put in Warby Parker. So this is the general part of SEMrush. And when you're looking at the domain overview, this section here. So let's say you're not sure what to talk about. And so I'm competing with Warby Parker. I can click on here and it uses AI to group all of their topics into clusters. So let's say you're a consultant. Say you want to follow Boston Consulting Group, which I know will have a ton of traffic. You might put their domain in here and click down onto that content cluster section, and it's going to build out clusters that you can now go, all right, if they're talking about it, I need to be talking about it. And it's using AI to help break that down. So they're doing stuff around eye health. They're doing stuff around contact lenses, product features and technology, eyeglasses, online engagement. So you can see, the subcategories under eyeglasses, and this is content that they already have, and this is what's helping. You can see the amount of traffic they're getting for it, the amount of keywords that they're ranking for it for, the potential volume, and the average keyword difficulty level for you to compete on that act on that keyword that is a part of that keyword cluster. Okay. So these tools can give you a lot of additional insight in addition to the new AI toolkit. If you're just new to this, stick to the AI toolkit. Focus on this. I'm not gonna give you again a starting point. I did that in part one and part two. Watch part one and part two. The objective here is, looking at the question section and going, how do I leverage this information? So I'm going to go back to questions, and I'm going to use Laura again. That way it could be relevant to somebody on the actual call. So let me come over here, view reports. Or should I do it here? Oh yeah, we'll go here. About catering. All right, here we go. So what questions do we have? So we're looking at this. It's giving us some time sensitive things that she can immediately do. So here's some AI generated strategies based on the latest data updates. So it's saying this is a message to Laura. Own the one-stop shop. Capitalize on high demand for integrating planning and custom catering solutions. It's saying lead dietary flexibility. Promote expertise in allergies, vegan, halal, and multicultural menu accommodations, and streamline client journey. Simplify inquiries, booking, and taste processes to boost conversion and satisfaction. So these are some top level things it's saying. But again, if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, based on the question one, it's also given us a ton of strategic opportunities specifically to just this tab, just the questions tab alone. So I could start here and look at these here. And remember, last week on the VIP session, we just copied one of these because we thought it would make a great app, and we created an app. So not everything is about an app. It could be about going after potential people and coming up with a partnership, creating a webinar series, creating a series of downloadable resource guides, whatever that might be. Okay. So, questions, thoughts, anything I need to dive into here? No? No one has anything to say.
I just have to look at it. I mean, I can't even form any questions right now because I'm so much at the beginning here, but so that's why I'm mum.
Sure. No, I got you. And I'm picking on everybody. I apologize. I know I'm putting people on the spot. And again, think about it like this. You guys are usually not lost for words. And the fact that you are, imagine how lost everybody else is if they're not even here. And this is another reason why this could understanding this, and then and I know it's hard. Like I'm testing a new tool now, and I'm 3 weeks into testing the tool, and then I had a call yesterday or 2 days ago with the company because now I had intelligent questions. So sometimes I can't have questions until I am actually testing it. So you can't sit on the sideline and then hope the questions come to you. You actually have to get your feet in the water, and then you go, oh, I thought it could do this. It can't. Well, then I need to ask a question either why or what can I do instead? Because those were some of the questions I asked on this new tool. I go, here's what I originally thought it could do based on what I read. Now that's telling the company a couple things. One, they need to clarify that more on their marketing stuff. And two, there's an opportunity to take advantage of something, especially if I go, here's how I wanted to use it. And they're like, actually, that's actually a good idea. There's an opportunity for them to innovate. So think about that from your own products and services when you are having questions with people and they're going, I thought that you could do this, but I realize you can't. And you're like, okay, let me note that down. How could I possibly use that? Or right now, yes, that's actually on our roadmap, but it won't happen for another 6 months. Or this might be something we do later down the line. Again, something that you could use to your advantage here. But looking at this and reading these questions around catering services and offerings, menu customization and dietary needs, event planning and logistics, booking and support, when you read these questions, let's look at booking and client support. They're either researching or they're looking for support from Laura. So the research is, what questions should I ask before booking a catering service? That's a great article. So you're going the 9 things you should be thinking about before you engage with a catering company. Okay. What is the process of booking a catering company for my wedding? Here's our resource guide to booking booking for your wedding. And it's a branded thing that they might have to opt into because it's going to produce a very personalized, very unique scenario for them, possibly if you integrate it with the app we did last week, where they can put in their budget. They can choose if they're going to go with a band versus a DJ. They can choose if they want real flowers versus fake flowers. If they want a destination wedding versus a wedding down the street. Okay, you see how you can start to use this to position yourself. Go ahead, Nikisha.
Sorry. Me and you again, Laura. So they can use this combined with what you did yesterday for like an a la carte type quote to determine what works for them without even having to contact you, Laura.
Try an automated a la carte
Nice.
personalized quote, which is now done at scale.
That's pretty impressive.
And again, you're innovating. So understand that you're also innovating. So multiple things are happening. So just because we're starting to optimize more for AI search, there are so many byproducts of this action. It's exciting. So everything has multiple use case scenario going on here, and it's extremely exciting here to look at that. Erica says, "Hooray for automation!" Absolutely, that is the whole point. When we're talking about AI search, we're specifically talking about digital, whether you're physical, brick and mortar, or what have you, or you happen to be 100% digital. This is about digital, the digital aspect of your brand. Okay, so looking at the support side, what is the cancellation policy for a la carte catering? How can I schedule a tasting with a la carte catering? So these are very specific to the support. How these are absolutely final questions before they purchase. And if they're asking it, they're either asking it, and it's not that they don't find it; they're asking it. So the hope is that they're going to find it. So this might exist specifically on a very specific service page that you have around this specific service. So you're going, okay, I need to. So now let's say if you've been doing it for a while, you might go, I need this actual question copy, and I'm going to put it into my frequently asked questions page and make sure it's there. If I come back to, let's go to this to the AI, to this series. This series is a standalone platform. So the series you're currently on, if you scroll down all the way to the bottom, there's my frequently asked questions. I have 10 of them. So things that we could probably take for granted that people should know. It's not about taking for granted that, oh, they should know that. You put it there because people won't know that. They may not read the whole page. They just want the answer to the question. Why am I going to make them read through all of this when all they want to know is, who is this series for? That's all I want to know. Is this series for me? Yes? All right, now I'm interested in investing more time into determining if I'm going to sign up for it, if I'm going to book a consultation with you, if I'm going to blah, blah, blah this, blah, blah, blah that. Okay? So you're basically plugging your leaky funnel, if you've ever heard that term. Okay? So there's so much that you can do, and all you got to do is just start doing stuff. Again, I talked about on part 1, you can download these reports. If you're on a paid plan, you can export the report and then upload it and go, where do I start? If you have to ask a third party someone, where do I start to just get the ball rolling? Do not let analysis paralysis set in. Corey and Nikisha work together. They're a duo team. You know, they both have their individual things that they're responsible for daily. And I'm assuming this, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, they should be having either weekly meetings or something that's high level that would tie into what are the projects and projects they're working on. And then somebody should be aligning that with some of this stuff and go, it's funny you mentioned that because we're actually getting these questions so we can kill two birds with one stone.
Yes, that is the goal right now. We are again pivoting again from things that we've done in the beginning of our business to where we're at now. And again, this with SEMrush over the last month, we've actually been taking a turn, and this is going to help us again attract the clientele that we're going out for or looking for, and also answer some of the questions without actually having to interact with people every day one on one. Just basically give a lot of answers to the questions they need and create a lot of content on the questions that they're asking or things they want to know about more. So to give us more visibility. So this is definitely going to help with that.
Absolutely. One more thing on this, and then I'm going to go over to the blog that we looked at. So let's look at pricing. So you don't have to answer all questions. You might not want to put certain things out. Like I know in some industries, pricing we don't want to say out loud, especially service-based companies. So she has some stuff around research, education, and comparison. So and when it comes to pricing packages comparison, it's going what is included in comprehensive event planning packages. What is the average cost of full service catering? How do catering companies price their services? How do a la carte catering and events prices compare to Swift? Now, sometimes what I would do, and I've done this for some of my clients who go, I don't really want to put my actual pricing on. We'll do pricing. We'll usually create like sliding scales for pricing. If you're looking for a small wedding, it could cost you anywhere all inclusive between $2,500 and $5,000. If you're looking for a medium sized wedding with these bells and whistles, it could be 5,000 to 10K. If you're looking for a really high end thing, it could go up 10K to 25,000. And then if budget is no limit, well then this. And now you provide more of a sliding scale, which again then could get you quoted, even though you're not mentioning your actual pricing strategy. And it gives you flexibility to go, I can't really quote you until you tell me what you're looking for. So there's always a way. The key here is just determining what's the conversation being had and where do I enter the conversation. Questions, thoughts, ahas. Nope.
No, I was just gonna say that it's just again light bulbs. Just thinking about what to do next. I'm just thinking about the strategy of it now.
All
It's
right.
just adding to that. Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at the anatomy of a landing of a blog article. So we looked at this blog article, we looked at the back end, and we looked at scale nut. Do we have any questions that I could tap into here? No? All right. Raise your hand if you're doing blogs. Okay. All right. So, let me see if there's anything else. I think that is it. So it seems like we're pretty quiet. We can stay in the AI search conversation. Is there anything else we can talk about? If not, I guess I'll let you guys go early. This is really meant for your benefit and how I might be able to support you and answer any additional questions.
Yeah. For me, Jimmy, I'll just say that it's a lot of it is, like you said, cutting edge. So it's high level, but I think that having this as a base and something that we can always refer to, just having this initially is going to help us start, like you said, taking bite-sized pieces out of the elephant and really find out what works for us and what doesn't work for us. So I'm just excited just to go try this, do a few things that I find interesting to that's aligning with what I'm doing now, and then see how that works within the next few weeks, month or two. and
Right.
see and revisit this and see what it looks like after that.
Right. And now you said month or two. Understand if you're not doing any of this stuff, it's going to take you a minute. This is not
Yeah.
a quick strategy here. There is possibilities for quick wins, but
Hmm.
it would be have to be so strategic.
Yeah.
And it would always almost have to apply to something that's already in motion, that you're now going to use this to kind of help with that, and then you will benefit from it from the AI and SEO side of things a little bit later. But
Got
do
it.
know that this is a long-term strategy here, and the less you've done, the longer it's going to take you to get there. But that doesn't mean you don't start, because every day you don't start, you fall further behind. It's the compound of falling behind actually becomes bigger. So,
Hmm.
Nikisha, I saw you raise your hand.
You kind of answered the question because I was going to ask, I'd be curious to see what the impact looks like after like week 4 or week 5. But you answered the question. This isn't like short term. This is something you have to plan out and be strategic about. So,
Well,
yeah.
well, this is the impact. This is your measurement. So having a tool like this gives you the ability to see what your share voice is on Google AI mode, on Search GPT, on Chat GPT, on Perplexity, on Gemini, and across, you know, um, eventually we'll be able to do worldwide and by a certain amount of days. But you scroll down here, I'm on the brand performance tab, which is the top tab of visibility, perception, citations, and questions, where you're seeing week by week. There's the two most important things in AI search is share of voice and sentiment. Share of voice means how much voice do you have on this topic across these platforms. Sentiment is how people feel about you. So not how you feel about yourself, not your marketing message to people, how people are responding to you because of you as the brand. Okay. And if you've done a decent job, this is where most of us are immediately winning. Um, as you can see, for Laura, her sentiment is extremely high. It's either favorable, general, or not favorable. And general is not bad. It just means that, the conversation about her may not be exciting. Oh, I love Allocating catering so much because blah 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 blah. It just might be it might be a press release. Allocating catering recognized as one of the top catering companies in Houston, type of scenario. Okay. So these are the two things you're judged on when it comes to AI search, but you also need to know where you're showing up in AI search. And then, of course, the questions that are being asked. So if we go back to visibility, which was last week's session, and you can see that you are number one in this non-branded term. You're number one in this. This is how you measure success. Now, again, if I come to moving forward small business, and I'm going to throw myself under the bus here, and I have no problem doing that. If I come to visibility, we're doing great on brand visibility. We're number one when our name is mentioned because we've done a great job of creating content that positions us. This is almost like bottom of the funnel. When they're using your brand name, they're now evaluating you. But if I look at non-branded content, we're nowhere to be found. Our competitors are. This is where we need to improve. So once I start showing up in branded terms, that's non-branded terms, which means which communities specialize in helping new businesses survive the first 5 years. That's us. But I haven't done a good job in answering that question. So that means I got to address that question. So you can go piece by piece, or you can optimize this on a really great landing page. So this question needs to be integrated into our membership page to be more specific about this specific target audience. Someone in the business for 5 years. Talk about the failure rate of businesses in the first 5 years and why they should join our community, because this is why we were created. I'm missing that piece of content. And now that I see that this question is being asked, and SCORE is in position 3, SBA is in position 1, Small Business Development Center is in position 2, Chamber of Commerce is in position 9, and you can see these are all government-based agencies. And then my competitors, the ones that are for profit like me, we're not in the conversation. So this is my chance to beat out my entrepreneur organization, Vistage, Startup Grind, and then start to compete more with SCORE, SBA, and Small Business Development Center and Chamber of Commerce, who, yeah, my problem with them is 99% of their stuff is free. So I have to I have to pitch my case to why would I pay for you when the SBA will give me stuff for free? That's the challenge that I must overcome. I know it, and I'm currently working on a strategy to address that, to go, yes, I get it, but here's the difference. Here's what they won't do that we will do. But that's on me. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So without this data, we don't know. So we have to do a great job of getting this information. And the reason why I keep pushing the SEMrush tool is because you have more data than you can possibly use. And that's, to me, in this case, that's a good thing. Because now you can figure out, well, where am I? So which data is more important to me right now? Because as you start to make these adjustments on this small scale to this one thing here and this one thing here, it will start to affect the entire thing, and you want to see that change in real time. It will have a chain reaction. But at least you know you're working on something that is focused on the greater good of the entire organization. Man, I can see the wheels on some of y'all. I see the smoke coming out the top. You're just like, ooh, okay.
It
So
it feels
go
it
ahead.
feels like a fire hose, Jimmy. Like literally, like the amount of data and ideas coming
Yeah.
at us just from what we're looking at today. So the reason, at least for me, being quiet is digesting all of this and what to do with it and where to fit that time in.
And I
But I
get it.
mean, and
Well,
that's
let's address that then. Let's address that. So let's say moving forward, we're going to dedicate 2 hours a week to AI search. So now we got a framework. Now we got a structure. Now within that 2 hours, what should we focus on? Should we focus on a specific platform? ChatGPT, AI mode, Perplexity. And from that, once we do that, what do we want to do? Do we want to look at just these top visibility things, or do we want to pick one of these things down here to do? Okay. So let's not necessarily look at all of the data, but let's put a structure in place. I got 2 hours, and I'm going to dedicate it to specific to this. And my job is, let's say if you work for a medium-sized company, my job is to collect data and create a starting point. If you're a small business owner, I'm already doing, take into account, I'm either writing blogs or I'm creating content somehow, because you have to be creating content for this to even work. What can what in here is related specifically to content? Let me make a hit list of 5 things that I can do, and then I'll use this. I need ideas. So let's go through this and figure out where my idea is going to come from. Okay. So we make it a point to just simplify what we need first, and then go in here and figure out where it is. And if we don't know where it is, then we go into our chat bot or somewhere in here and ask SEMrush, where is this? I want to do this. So you can get a starting point.
well, and the
So-
nice thing is it sorts the data for you and it labels it urgent, so you know where you should start on stuff. But you mentioned content a second ago, and you've mentioned both blogs and landing pages. So I'm curious as to whether you have some insight, some guidelines as to how we should post certain things. Like, oh, that should be a blog. Oh, that should be social media,
Good. That's a
or
great
that should be a
question.
landing page.
That's a great question. And that's where you'll have to determine. That is 100% the openness of this, unfortunately. You're going to look at it. You might go, I've got a lot of great content. Let me just produce a frequently asked questions page on its own. Or you might go, you're reading through this because maybe an hour of your 2 hours is just reading the data until something pops out to you.
Mm.
And you might look at that and go, that's actually a good question to go on this already existing sales page. You determine where this goes. Here's the key. The thing is, the more you use the tool, the easier the tool becomes to use.
Sure.
Right now, it is overwhelming to a lot of you because, like to me, I don't see overwhelm anymore. What I see is opportunities, and now I back that up to go, I got this coming up, I got this happening. I need a blog, I need 3 new blogs by the end of the month. And now I'm just figuring out what here am I going to use because this is also going to solve this problem. So the key here is align it with something you're already doing, and that would also tell you what is important. You know, I have to work on messaging. So when I'm reading through this, I am looking more at these strategic opportunities because these strategic opportunities actually help me better position either around a specific product or it's relevant to the entire company. So you'll have to determine, does this go in a blog article? Does it go on a sales page? Or is it something that, or where does it go? But the key here is that's not really the driving force. The driving force is what am I already working on? And then can this fit into it, or is this going to take me off because it's too far left for me right now, even though it's still relevant? I hope that answered the question a little bit, Laura.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So again, yes, I can understand this is a bit overwhelming, but understand you will grow into this tool, and it will be a situation. What I love the most about AI search is it's no longer about the website. It is about the brand. And when you're working on the brand, you can't go wrong because it's client facing and it's behind the scene at the same time in most cases. You're you're addressing two situations at the same time and you're looking at this, and when you look at it, it almost just makes sense. That's what's the real killer here is just like, wow, that's actually makes sense. All right, great. This think of this as one of your brainstorming tools. This is the this is the looking glass, and then your execution, whether it's your AI tools or whatever else, is how you're going to accomplish it. This is helping you plan your strategy, but you need to allocate time regularly into this tool. Earlier before we started the whole session, I was on with Laura, Corey, and Akeisha, and we were talking about I used to use any word all the time, and Laura brought up, "Oh, you're going to be in any word," and I go, "I honestly haven't touched any word in months," and that's because I've gotten so used to Gemini that Gemini to me crushes any word. Nothing against any word; it's still a great platform, but I now have more value out of Gemini, which I was extremely reluctant to use at the beginning. I was just like, I don't need another AI tool. And at the end of the day, this is probably my best AI generative tool is Gemini. And so it surprised me. And now it's become a part of my tool set. This is this tool because you can do so many things in this one place. And I think that is part of also the thing here is you don't need everything, but if I show you how to use it, then you're going to go, I know where it is when I need it.
That's that's exactly what I'm getting from this because, like you said, it solves two things at once. It gives you something to focus on. It also gives you content to create to make yourself relevant in that space. So this is definitely the tool that's going to help us advance that narrative a little bit quicker because of the research we would do just using any other AI tool like a chat to find out what are some relevant topics. This is giving us the answers. It's just now it's up to us to create our own unique version of it.
Absolutely. And actually, we can tack that back onto Nikisha's question about speed, timing. Well,
Mm,
the first place where you will see an improvement of the use of your time will be because of the tool. That will you'll be able to get to a potential possible solution faster. It's just about when will you see the benefits of the implemented solution.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
So,
okay. All right. So yeah, we got some questions rolling in. I'm liking this. This is meaningful. Yeah. It's about asking the right question.
yeah, yeah.
Um, okay. Um, yeah, so there'll be no building of apps today. Sorry, Laura and Nikisha. They're looking for looking for that level of aha. I'm hoping this is still engaging enough, but that's the thing, and that's why it's broken up into pieces. So again, you can choose. So let me break it down like this. This tab, brand performance, is everything. So let's say you want to look at the entire company from a high level. Then you can implement strategies here from a higher level. And most likely, these strategies will take you a little bit longer to implement because it covers everything. If you decide to go deep and go either visibility, perception, citation, or question, then that's more focused. And now you can focus more on this is I actually like the way they had it mentioned, they had it labeled before. They changed it. This used to be audience and content. I think that makes more sense as a pathway than just questions. This one used to be I believe branding and marketing. This is how you're being perceived, which is why it says perception. This one was visibility. This one was more I forget the term. It was something more about the brand, how we stack up against our competitors. So again, so you can choose your pathway just by looking at any one of these four, because if you click on visibility, perception, citation, or the question, then again you will get a series of potential urgent things or a higher level of strategic opportunities, which you can act on either one. And so this can be your your weekly AI meeting with your team or your biweekly AI meeting where depending on what you decide to do, you're reporting on the progress of that specific thing until it is complete. And now you're voting on what do we do next, you know? And for me, so I'm constantly producing content and I'm constantly doing trainings and webinars. So I'm doing a lot of digital stuff. What I'm looking for when I'm in here is just key phrases that I might want to integrate into all the stuff I'm already doing, whether they're questions or blogs. You know, one thing I think I mentioned earlier is I don't really have any real content like blog articles, clusters on AI search. I need to produce that quickly because then the CTA will be to watch this as a replay. So I've already got the answer to these articles. And so because I'm already doing the work, the hard work is creating the assets.
Makes
So
sense.
yeah. So understand, unfortunately, you're being inducted into the SEO world. And Elizabeth and I have had many conversations around SEO, and she's come a long way with her site even that, tell us about the win that you had, because when you talked about it yesterday, it was on our 5 days of implementation.
Oh, well, I just got an email from SEMrush and about my standing, and I looked at it more in a cursory manner, not with this in-depth manner, which I will now adopt. But I found that the competitors that I had been sort of on a even keel or just a little bit behind, I was ahead of them all in about four different categories, and I just it made me feel great. And I know we've been working really hard towards this, but I hadn't seen the result manifested yet. So it was good, and it actually launched me into deeper dive. Also, just trying to integrate GoDaddy and Google have ways of working together. So I got that back up, and then bringing it SEMrush. So I'm starting that trilateral. Just, but I was more kind of just sort of following the breadcrumbs last night. But now I really have a specific sort of a course. So this is great. It's really amplifying my win.
Absolutely. So first of all, kudos on that. And the funny thing is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it wasn't that you were trying to actually fully do that. So you were more surprised that it happened, but you knew that you were still doing stuff. But you just didn't realize, oh, I should probably look at the results.
Yeah, well, it never even occurred to me because we've been putting a lot of focus on social media, and I have been doing consistent, importing of content on my website. But we had just been focusing on the social media, and I was watching that grow. But the website is really important.
Yeah,
So it was, much
and this
nicer
is
to
where
see
we're
that.
tapping in, and this is where it doesn't have to be so daunting, this stuff here, because everybody on this call is already doing stuff. What you're looking for is alignment now
Okay.
to be more purposeful in relationship to data, which is what this is. This is now
Right.
going, yeah, you can keep just doing stuff, but how about we align it and have it mean do a number of things for you because you were going to do it anyway.
Right. This is the speed lane now.
This is the speed lane. I like that.
Hmm.
This is the
Hmm.
speed lane. So, all right. So I'm going to, if we don't have any more questions that I can dive deeper into, let's get some closing comments from you guys here. So next week we're gonna be diving into competition. So we're gonna look at the competitor part of this whole thing. And I always say when it comes to competitors, if you choose the wrong competitors, you will be enthusiastically going in the wrong direction. You know, so you must make sure that you are measuring the right type of competitors. So your efforts are what they need to be, and you can feel comfortable doubling down. So, any final thoughts from anybody here? Anybody want to offer up any final thoughts?
One of the ways to do that, I mean, you have your competitors in your head, but Google surprises me occasionally. You put your company name in and it'll say people also look for towards the bottom on the right. So it'll give you a list of how you're perceived by by end users because that's who they're comparing you to.
Yep, great tip, fantastic. Anybody else? And it could be anything. Erica, I saw you raise your hand.
I wanted to know, I know you're using 11 Labs to read the articles. I wanted to know if that made a difference and how's it going?
I've slacked off on that. I think it's going great. 11 Labs, for anybody who doesn't know, it's an AI audio tool. You can clone your voice. You can it has it has a situation where you can put your URL of your blog in, and it'll convert the entire blog into an audio. And what I typically do with that is I'll convert it to audio, and that's something we learned in the framework around inbound. The reason why I do it and I embed that audio link onto the website is because now just that one act alone made that page ADA compliant. Because now someone, because I deal, of course, in the community of the blind, and so, and we're doing a lot of stuff with that community now. So if they're having trouble reading the blog articles or they can't unfortunately see it all, their reader will pick up that there's an audio of the blog. So that makes that page audio friendly. So I prefer certain things as video when I'm training. I prefer some things as an article to read, and I prefer to listen to some things as almost in a podcast format. What you're doing is you're making that page, you're optimizing the page to be easy for multiple people depending on their preference, not yours. And then at the end of the day, it just if people stay on the page, Google will reward you, and now the AI tools will reward you because they're staying on the page. Either imagine them having to sit on your page to listen to a 15-minute audio that they can read. That's 15 minutes of airtime on your page. So when you increase that visibility, you increase that on-page engagement, you win. So that becomes one of the major wins for that because when they see people and stay on an engaged page, they go, this is a good page that I will continue to recommend. So I need to step that up, Erica. And again, that's because I've fallen off my blogs over the last 2 months because I've been busy. So I need to get back to my blogs and yes, pull those blogs in. Now I do have to do a bit of editing on the when you pull the article into 11 Labs, it'll read it and it'll read everything, including dates, and so you got to remove stuff. So it starts to read better. You just create a process around it. So, and this is something you can pass off to a VA. This is not something you personally need to do. You've already written the content. They just need to repurpose it. Drop it into 11 Labs. Elsa is on here. She's muted. She tends to kind of just be in listen only mode. Yesterday on our call we did in the community, I mentioned to her about Lumen 5, how to pull your video in and create a video. She did it that night, sent me the link. It was freaking amazing. So she took action. So on that same article that we're talking about here, not only can you use like ScaleNut to make sure that it's got all the right thing, you can create other assets to integrate into that same article, making it even more powerful by dropping that link into Lumen 5 and creating a 2-minute video that you put on YouTube and embed back into the article, and then take that same URL and put it into 11 Labs and create an audio link, an audio version of it, upload that. Now that article is just fire.
How do you spell Lumen 5?
Lumen number 5.
Okay. Pretty
And
obvious.
so
Okay.
there's a free plan of that, and that'll give it just tags the Lumen 5 at the end for it. Typically what I'll do is I'll usually pull it into my editor and just cut off the end. Cheating. It is what it is. But repurposing strategies, there's many tools that can do this. Riverside, the platform I use all the time. This content here will go into Riverside and it repurposes things like that. So you have many different tools. Some tools are generative. So the Lumen 5 is a generative tool. It means it generates it from something. The Lumen 5 11 Labs generates it from something. You know, uh, AnyWord or Gemini generates it from something. A tool like Riverside will take your existing content and just repurpose it, break it up into pieces that you can use in other places. So, all right. So I kind of went on a little tangent there. My bad. Anybody else? Final things? We're at the top of the hour. Good.
Good.
All right. I know
Good.
you're all busy. I appreciate your time and energy. I look forward to seeing you on day 4. Keep being awesome. as always, stay active, stay focused, stay strong. That is the Moving Forward Small Business Way. I bid you farewell.
All right.
Thank you. Bye bye. Adieu.